The next thing I want to talk about is how it's supposed to work. Not penis in the vagina, but
we don't have any bananas.
We don't have any bananas or any of fruit to demonstrate. But how it's supposed to work on an emotional level, on a physical level, at like an energetic level. So it's really supposed to be awesome, quite frankly. It's meant to be consensual and agreeable. A connecting experience where there's openness. It's supposed to be, there's learning and exploring. It's okay to not know everything right away.
It's okay to laugh.
It's okay to laugh. It's okay to...
Not even mess up, but it's okay to like try something that doesn't work and try something different. It's okay to learn.
A lot of times, I mean, the formula that a lot of adults have is they think because they just heard about it for the first time, there should be an expert at it and be really great at it. Like, that's not the case with anything in the life. So why would it be that way with sex? So there's learning and there's exploring. It's meant to be a comfortable experience and a communicative experience. So to be able to really openly communicate, that's ideally in an ideal world where everybody would get to. It has to happen inside first to be able to happen with another. But at the same time, if you're in a really healthy relationship, which was our seminar last month, a healthy relationship, you can learn how to communicate together at the same time when it comes to sex. So it's not something that you have to have polished completely at any time in life. Plus, if you're with somebody new, if you just met somebody, like, it's always going to be different.
So there's different shapes, different sizes, different heights, different reach. There's a lot of different things like that. Sounds like a sports combine, but it's for real. Different body types are different. Different emotional states. There's just a lot. Like, it's a very, like I said, diverse topic.
And the fact that it's not talked about in a healthy way makes it really, really, really extra confusing. Like, especially people wanting to go into it being, like, good at it, but then yet maybe never having done it before with this person. Like, how can anybody expect? There's a lot of expectations that can be out there.
How can you be good at anything you've never done before? People say they're natural, but and it's different. Like, there's three things I want to share. Like, generally, when I grew up, my era, so there's sex is generally the missionary position for the first time. That's generally how it was. And the guys were expected to do the majority of the work. That's what it was like. And
they called it work.
Without saying, some people say, I didn't say this, but some people say that sometimes the women just have to lay there. Some people say that. I don't say that. Yeah. But people say that. But if you're gonna take it from a calorie burning standpoint and how much more muscles get engaged, generally the guys will do more work.
Had the expectation to do
correct
the calorie burning.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And we didn't have Fitbits back then. Anyways, but then then Hollywood too. A joke that Amanda and I talked about in movies, like movies and sex. You want to bring it up now? Now's a good time.
Well, I don't know, probably, but like.
Have you ever seen a movie?
Have you ever seen a movie where guy meets girl, girl meets guy, starts to get sexy?
They kiss.
They go in for a kiss, and next thing you know.
Wait. Then the shirt comes off.
Like, maybe a button of the shirt comes off.
Yes.
But then suddenly it's in.
Boom. It's in.
Like, they're having sex. They're just like, it's like, it happens so fast in movies where it's like,
kissing is in.
That is not a realistic expectation to go into sex with. If you're going in just with the expectation for movies, it's not just in.
Right.
That's the biggest lie ever told about sex.
And then, so that was kind of like my generation, my era was like, like more like different things like that. What I talked about, like more missionary position. What I'm hearing a little bit, not necessarily directly, but indirectly, from kids that are more like in youth. So we didn't also have these growing up. We also didn't have Google. We didn't also have basically anything you can look up. I had to do Cinemax, and then I don't know if you guys knew this trick, but I remember how we do it with the antenna. You go to a certain channel or between channels. I don't remember what it was, but you can kind of see black and white porn if you do something really weird with the bunny ears on the TV. we got to work hard at seeing a little bit. Kids these days, they can just, you can Google anything. There's like Pornhub or, XTube or all these different things that are out there for people. And so these kids see this crazy stuff from what I personally don't watch porn, but like there's a lot of, I have before, but I just don't right now in my life. And which isn't good, bad, or right or wrong. It just is. But from what I understand and talking to people and in the collective consciousness and culture, there's more porn now than there ever has been. There's like something for everyone is what I hear. And kids can Google that, and kids see, I'm just going to go out and say it because everyone's got to have this in their mental map. There's got to be something that everybody considers crazy shit with sex and sexually, like too much or too extreme or for their own personal self. And there's people that sometimes the crazier the better. But a lot of kids are seeing these crazy things, and then they're thinking that's how they got to start right away. Where is the communication between, like, there is a hymen, there is things, you can't just, I'm just going to be 100% authentic. This is a word in porn, like, called jackhammering, where guys just really go to town and they pound really hard. There's kids, young kids, that are starting to have sex like that. And that's just, I'm cringing right now. It's cringing right now, like, to think about it. If a woman's never had sex, girl's never had sex before, and she has a hymen, and just there's things going on, you don't force it, but sometimes they don't know any better because of the lack of communication. They think this is how it's supposed to be. So that's really where we're working on bridging the gap, and trying to make a seamless or a progressional transition between not knowing anything and then starting, but then here's here's some of the stuff in the world that's really going on. Here's things that people that aren't talking about because they're uncomfortable or that needs to be talked about. And then here's kind of how to correct it. Here's like solutions that we would suggest and recommend. It's healthy.
Yeah. So ideally, how it's supposed to be is awesome, consensual, connecting, open. There's learning and exploring. Comfortable, and there's communication. Yeah,
experiential, and you're in the moment. You're not like trying to rush through it. You're actually like relaxing, breathing.
So that's how it's supposed to be. How it usually is awkward, confusing, out of balance, a lack of communication, probably a lot of talking going on in individual minds or in heads, but not like out loud with the person they're actually with. Full of expectations based on what they've seen or heard, just disconnected, and a lot of times it's not sober, especially in any age really, but today's age, just not sober. There's some kind of substances typically involved.
And so how it's supposed to work, more of a healthy, is more, what I said, in the moment, associated. So I would be in my body and having the experience in the moment, which is in alignment with spirituality. A lot of people, from what I hear too, and this is like kind of in a lot of TV shows, so much conditioning in a lot of programming and shows and movies about, like, I know growing up hearing like the old ball and chain. Like, I heard that in so many movies. Oh, the old lady, right? I wouldn't. That's just me. I'm not like trying to get married to an old lady. Like, I want to get married to someone around my age and then grow, in consciousness. But to say, if I was gonna say my wife is an old lady, like my old lady or an old lady, that would almost like null and void the contract of our marriage or relationship, or the old ball and chain. It's like, the way I grew up, in some shows and some people, the way they talk bad about women. Some people that I've seen in shows or seen in real life talk so bad about women, I'm just like, well, then why don't you sound like a really great candidate to be gay. Like, if you hate women so bad, don't date them. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, I'm not going to judge you. You can be gay if you want, do whatever you want. Or don't date anybody. Maybe even better. I don't know. But, like, if people talk so bad about people, then don't date. If women are so terrible, don't date women. If men are so terrible, don't date men. But really, it's the reality is it's the common denominator. Really, what about that is a problem for you? What about this are all these men, all these women, all these relationships trying to show you? But so much is like talking really, really bad about that, using like sex as a weapon. Like, that's such a low consciousness thing, and I see it so much on TV for women to use sex as a weapon. Like, oh, nope, I'm upset you're sleeping on the couch tonight, or you're not getting any for this amount of time. I would never have a relationship like that. I never have, never would. personally, I'm just going to be really open, authentic. I've never had a problem having sex with people. I've always had it available if I wanted to. I don't know, for whatever reason, I had that available. That's why growing up, I didn't go to strip clubs very much. Strip clubs didn't make sense to me. Why pay to see somebody? I have to pay, and maybe I don't want to drink, and I have to pay like a 2-drink minimum. I have to pay for somebody to see naked when I can just make a whole bunch of phone calls and kind of do whatever I want. That didn't make sense to me. So for me, I'm not a good candidate to use sex as a weapon, to hold that back. To me, that's disrespecting. Using sex as a weapon for any men or women is disrespectful spiritually. It closes down the chakras for the person and the other person, for the one saying it, the other person. It causes damage in the relationship. It disconnects things spiritually. It affects the neo, the real self. But that's conditioned so much on TV. There's just a lot of social programming that kind of taught us or conditioned or modeled for us, programmed how sex is or what it is, and it's just not like that. The reality is it's not like that. It can be for a lot of people, because a lot of people are followers and they're robots and they do what they're told or say, and they don't question themselves. They don't research. They don't read a book on sex. They don't have conversations. They don't do seminars like this. They don't develop that part of themselves. How can you get better at something if you don't work at it and develop? And sex is not any different.